Hey guys, Second here bringing you a Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video, and so today we are going to be taking another look at Glorio and his team build with the new physical LR Paikuhan. Obviously Paikuhan is on Battle of Wits, so he is on the 170 lead for Glorio. I've been link leveling mine a little bit. As you can see, we're kind of a bit of a spread all over from like 3 to 6 with some of these links, but we'll see how we get on here. This team is going to be like absolutely drenched in support because of the Glorios floating once we get them set up. Obviously we've got the Paikuhans floating, the AGL Paikuhan, we're going to float him. So we are going to start off like this. Now obviously physical Paikuhan doesn't get a load of his buffs from his passive in slot 1. But on this turn there's no attacks here, so it's not going to be a detriment to him. Because one of the big things that he does is that in slot 2, and it only activates one time, he gives that buff for other World Warriors, allies and tournament participants to get 10% damage reduction for 2 turns. So obviously if we don't put him in slot 1, in slot 2, then that ability doesn't activate. So the thing with that is it obviously could be something useful that we can save to use a little bit later into the event, which I think I might have mentioned it yesterday, but it's not something I'd thought of when I first saw his kit, right? Because if you do want him to just be on the rotation, giving a bit of support, but you want him to get those defensive abilities, he gets them in slot 2 or 3, which is the guard, high chance to crit, and then an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super, and an extra 20% chance to dodge. So there's a load of stuff, but he gets that in slot 2 or 3. Whereas as the slot 2, once only he activates the tournament participants or other World Warriors allies 10% damage reduction for 2 turns. So we can save that here now to use later on when it potentially will be more beneficial, especially with units like the 10 years where on the first turn they exchange into the like defensive mode. They're not like super strong defensively straight away, so having the extra 10% damage reduction for them is actually going to be hugely useful. So of course we have the English dub in the game now for the Daima characters. I don't know if they were, I guess, waiting to catch up to, I'm not sure where the dub actually is exactly, but around about, I think it's around about the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta episode, right? So they've basically caught up to like all the characters in the game that actually do have the, like, that are in Dokkan basically, and now they all have their English voices. So they've gone ahead and put those into the game, which is pretty cool. I hadn't actually heard like their English dub voices. The Glorio and the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta ones I think are really good, really well done. So that's very cool. But yeah, obviously not an ideal setup for the team to have a double Glorio like turn 2. Ideally you just want one of them on turn 1 and on turn 2, so you can get to business like straight away, putting them in slot 3, getting them floated off and getting that support active. But here's what it is. I put the Freezer on the team as well, because of course once he exchanges into the Goku, that can be helpful for a slot 1 unit, and with the Paikuhan support getting that extra 10% damage reduction as well. If we save that till nearer the end, we should be in a pretty good spot for him defensively, right? Because as long as we get one Rainbow Orb, he gets that guard and like damage reduction, and then having an extra 10% on top is obviously going to help him significantly as well. I think, does he have the guard? I think he has guard anyway, right? But you've got to get a single rainbow orb in order for him to get the extra damage reduction. But yeah, Frieza here obviously gets the extra boost from having a full superclass rotation, so finishes off Goku Black, and we can go on to Zamasu. So obviously at this point we don't yet have the ability to transform either of our guys into their more defensive options. So this would be one of those turns where we could do this, for example, right, and give them extra damage reduction. Obviously this is Goku's first turn, so he should be okay here. So if we do this and get you to super, get you to grab these, and then Paikuhan's able to get his 18 key as well. Like, floating Paikuhan is not ideally what we would want to do in this scenario, but obviously he's going to get his guard and everything. He's giving the support, because of course we have an Otherworld Warriors ally attacking in the same turn, because both the 10-year fusions are. So he's giving 3 ki and 40% attack and defense. So we should be good here. Goku's first turn and being in slot 2, he has a ton of damage reduction. So even if he gets supered here by Zamasu, he should be okay. And then once we get onto the next turn, we're going to have their ability to switch into the defensive modes. We're going to have both our Glorios, like with their slot 3 support passives, active by then as well. So we should be looking pretty good here. So Goku gets his attacks off. I mean, this team is just so fun. Like, I keep making videos on Glorio's team every time he gets, like, a new buff, which has been a lot recently. Like, a lot of characters. Any character that comes out that's, like, Accelerated Battle, Battle of Wits, or Demonic Power is going to be a buff to Glorio's team in some way, shape, or form. But Paikuhan, obviously, you know, works with the very specific build, right? Buffing the other World Warriors allies, having the 10-year fusions, having the AGL Paikuhan. And Glorio's team is just so fun. It works so well. Like, even though he's only giving a lot of these characters a 170 lead, because of the massive support that he gives floating in slot 3 and then some of these other supports that we've got on the team, a lot of these characters are hitting the same kind of numbers that they're hitting on like 220 leads and stuff. So it's definitely a very fun team that keeps getting boosted. Yeah, more Daima stuff. I mean, I assume like the mini Super Saiyan 4 and adult Super Saiyan 4 and even like the adult Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, they should all be on Accelerated Battle as well. Now, obviously at that point, we've talked about this in a previous video, but at that point the Dragon Balls have been used, so I don't know if the adult versions of the Daima cards will be on Dragon Ball Seekers. I guess technically the kid version, Kid Super Saiyan, well, mini Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the Dragon Balls haven't been used yet, but they've got them all already, so even potentially he won't be on Dragon Ball Seekers. So that is something to bear in mind, but obviously any of the characters that are on Dragon Ball Seekers as well will then obviously be getting the full leader skill from Glorio. So if we get like an adult Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta drop who's Accelerated Battle and Dragon Ball Seekers, imagine him on this team linked up with like the AGL 10-year Vegeta and then all this support from Paikuhan, Glorio. Like, it's going to be very, very fun. So whereas it is, yeah, just a Rainbow Sphere gives him 59% damage reduction and attacks effective against all types. He just has guard, yeah, okay. So we can go ahead and grab those. What links does he share with Paikuhan? He has experienced fighters, right? Yeah, experienced fighters, shocking speed, and fierce battle. That's not too bad. So then we can get our orbs for Glorio to get for Paikuhan to get his support, and then we'll get orbs for Glorio that activates his support as well. So Goku with a ton of support on this turn. Goku obviously another World Warriors character as well. He is an extreme class unit, so he doesn't get the base 30% from Paikuhan, because obviously the card starts off as Frieza. The card is an extreme int card, so he doesn't get the normal superclass allies support from AGL Paikuhan, but he does get the other World Warriors support. So he's getting a ton of support on this turn. We've got both the Glorios now floating in slot 3, so both of their supports are active. So we should be looking pretty good here. AGL Paikuhan obviously still got his guard. Pretty decent dodge chance as well anyway. Dodges the super, that's what we like to see. And then the friend Glorio, shout out to Goresh, the rainbow Glorio friend. It's funny how quickly he can just jump up, right, if he actually gets additional supers and not normals. Starting off at like 11 million. Of course he did. 2 additional normals. Can we get a hidden potential additional super? Nope, we get a hidden potential additional normal. Let's go. Very rare from Glorio that you see the super and then just a whole bunch of additional normals turn, but unfortunately RNG is RNG and it does happen every now and then. But yeah, we're going to get our reversible exchange is active here now for the Goku and Vegeta. These animations are so good. I was always such a big fan of Fusion Reborn. I know it's like the classic, like a lot of people growing up when we first discovered like the Z movies and stuff. How popular Fusion Reborn was, how popular Gogeta was like in the franchise as a character, considering he appeared in one movie for like 2 minutes, like if that. And that movie's always been one of my favorites. But okay, see, this is a good rotation setup here because we can go for I guess we don't really need to get defense for you. You have 70% damage reduction if we exchange you anyway, so go ahead and do this. Do this. We might as well start getting some defense built up with these guys, right? So even though they're not in the optimal slots, because they both want to be in slot 1. But this guy still has 70% damage reduction in slot 2. Although, is that enough? You don't get the dodge. See, the thing with these guys is in their defensive forms, they both want to be in slot 1, which is awkward. But I guess we could do this. Get some defense build up for the Vegeta. Get this for you. And then grab these for you. And then with all the support, Vegeta should be fine here post super attack. Because they do get a lot of defense on super. But that's the only flaw with the 10 years, which is, you know, it's one of those things, right? They can't be perfect, invincible units. But in these events that are a little bit shorter, but, you know, hit hard from the second phase, like straight off the bat like that. You can't just change these guys into their defensive mode, put them in slot 1, and they're just going to tank everything, right? Damn, Vegeta with 32 million. Both my 10-year fusions are 55% as well, by the way. That's another thing to bear in mind, right? When I use these guys on these different teams, they're both only 55% for me. And they're still just as crazy as they are. And that's because, in part, to all of this support that we get from the double Glorios, and obviously we got a fun turn coming up, in fact, because we're going to have the Goku in slot 1. Oh, I really hope Glorio kills. He needs to lock in and get like multiple supers here with crits, otherwise I don't think he can. Zamasu has a decent amount of HP, but this is my Glorio, who is 79%. But we need to see, like, oh, okay, yeah, no, he's not gonna, even if he supers like 4, well, again, his attack stat does jump up a lot. We went from 8 point something to 11 point something. Of course, Zamasu dodged. Then we got up to 16.1. So we basically almost doubled his attack stat from his first super. Man, if that had actually been another super. Oh, come on. Get the crit. 23 million. Don't dodge. Oh, he didn't crit, bruh. If that had been a crit, we would have killed him. Man. Because what we could have done here, or what we could still do, because we get it for 2 turns, is if I delay on transforming Paikuhan here, and now we put him in slot 2, that's now going to give all the other World Warriors, this is the first time we've put him in slot 2, so all of our other World Warriors allies now get an extra 10% damage reduction, which obviously includes Goku in slot 1. So we'll go ahead and do that. Then we will get the physical orbs for Paikuhan, and then get the orbs for you, which gives you the support buff as well. It's a shame that he was hanging on by a thread, because like going into the last phase with this rotation would be quite good, but it is what it is. Yeah, don't slot 1 super, that'd be awkward. Goku would tank it, but I think we probably would still take some damage. And then we get the 22 mil here. So yeah, now Paikuhan's been in slot 2. That's his passive now activated. So now when we go into this rotation against Zamasu and Rose, the other World Warriors allies now have that extra 10% damage reduction. So that applies to both of the 10 years here. So the big question is, do we just go ahead and pop a fusion here? Because the problem is, you should be fine in slot 1. You've got 540k defense start of turn. Guard, obviously, technically 80% damage reduction now. In fact, let me just double check. How much do these guys actually hit for? This is the Goku story one. Future Trunks Saga. So their starting super is like 4.2 million. So 4.2 million minus 80% means that their super would be doing 840k to Vegeta. But he also has Guard, which cuts that down by a little bit as well. So he absolutely would survive in slot 1, a super attack from them. The problem is, I don't know about the slot 2 Vegeta post super. He's going to have Guard, obviously. But Guard itself is not enough for tanking these big hits. Although, of course, he does have 10% damage reduction, which in and of itself is not like a crazy amount or anything. But we can go ahead and do that, get the full key for you. Do we get Gogeta? I mean, we could just get Gogeta out here, to be fair. Get Gogeta out, but not use the active skill. And then next turn, get Vegito out and use the double active skill. And then pretty much just going to be GG at that point, right? Because the 10-year fusion combo, still one of the most powerful rotations in the game, right, when you use both the active skills. He's the one who's going to take you down. So we transform. We don't get the extra rainbow orb changing, but obviously we can grab those two. Gives him that little bit of extra damage reduction. And then just grab those for you. Support from Glorio. That's the thing as well. Vegeta's defense that we looked at just now will now have gone up slightly as well, because we've locked in Glorio into slot 3. So yeah, he took 10k. Yeah, good stuff. Alright, so, I mean, that's what 80% damage reduction will do for you, right? Plus all of this support on the team. Yeah, Glorio's team just keeps getting better and better. And the fact that you can run so many different combos of, like, extreme builds, because you've got characters like the Janembas that are on Accelerated Battle, all the demonic power characters, like all the Boo characters. Cell is on Accelerated Battle. All the Gohans that are on Demonic Power is another different kind of superclass build. And you can mix and match, right? You can have one rotation of, like, physical LR Janemba and Tech Janemba, and then have the other rotation be, like, you know, Beast Gohan and some other Gohan. Like, you can mix and match with his team. The only thing, as we talked about in the past when we've done some of these events, is obviously the rotation locking is probably, like, the biggest enemy for Glorio's team, because Glorio, obviously, you want to get him in slot 3 straight away, and just basically leave both of the Glorios there floating in slot 3 for the whole event. So as soon as you get into a phase where you get rotation locking, obviously a unit that gets floated off in slot 3, when they come back for the next time, they're always going to be in slot 1. Glorio getting locked in slot 1 is obviously going to be kind of awkward, because he does have that dodge chance, but his defense is only at its peak, like when he's post super. So he's definitely not a slot 1 unit. But for every event that doesn't disable or doesn't have rotation locking, this team just works like so well. Glorio can get to the point where his defense gets high enough that even against dodge disabling bosses, like, he's still tanking normals perfectly fine. Some of the hardest hitting supers, I guess, from, like, the dodge disabling bosses can be an issue, right? Like Jiren hitting for like 6 mil and stuff like that. But other than that, this team is just super, super good. Super fun, constantly getting these extra buffs. Like, Glorio himself as the leader of the team is also just such a good unit, not just providing all the support, but like hitting these big attack stat numbers and everything as well. There's just like a super fun team. There's a reason why I keep like using this team all the time, right? Because it's just such a fun team to use. So we can go ahead, and your active skill unfortunately doesn't really give you any extra like defensive capabilities, which is unfortunate. But we can go ahead and, I mean, we could use Glorio's active skill here to stop them from healing. Because their heal is the first action of the turn. It would be nice if it was the super, but... So yeah, action break that. So we do share a few links with Glorio. Cold Judgment, Fierce Battle, Shocking Speed. So Cold Judgment obviously gives us a decent bit of extra defense as well. So let's get serious with Paikuhan.
We're just getting started.
And then I'm not sure, do we use your... Let's use the active skill. Do we put you in slot 1? I don't know how well he's going to eat the super here. Because 59% damage reduction on guard. I mean, their super still hits for over 4 million. So...
I'd say we're all square saying.
There's a unit that is still to this day, like, I don't use them a super large amount. But yeah, they get extra defense for every key sphere obtained, which is obviously a big thing. They get 100% defense when receiving an attack. Actually, 177% if defense is HP is 77 or more. That's why they can be such a deceptive like unit in terms of how strong they actually are defensively. Because like we get 9 orbs here, so they get a bunch of extra defense. So they're at 339k. That means when they get hit, let's get the calculator back up here. So if they're at 339,000, when they get hit, they're going to get 177% defense. So plus 177%. That puts their defense up to just under 1 million with 59% damage reduction and guard. I'm not sure if that is actually quite enough. But I guess we'll see. So we'll go ahead, we'll grab these for you, so you get the guaranteed crit and everything. The Glorio support obviously is going to push them over 1 million defense. So let's see what we get here. I mean, Goku, best case scenario, he dodges? No. 186k, well, there you go. That's what I mean, like, sometimes just looking at the numbers, it's so confusing for how much they're actually going to take, right? Because with that plus 177% when taking a hit, like, that only added up to him being at around 1 million defense. So how he only took 100k, I mean, guard and 59% damage reduction is of course really good. Paikuhan at 44 million defense here, 55%, like not even fully level 10 links. So that 44 million attack stat, and then dodging or tanking for double digit damage, and then we get the Glorio attack off at the end as well. I mean, pretty good turn, right? I did get one dupe for the Frieza and Goku card, so I feel like if you give them like full defensive equips and then like a full dodge build, with a couple of dupes, like they are going to be a solid slot 1 unit. Like 4.2 million damage super, and they took 100k, so it's pretty good. The only downside to the Glorio team is the fact that because so many of the characters are only getting a 170 lead, obviously the overall HP of the team isn't like super high, but it's not like so low that they're unrunnable, obviously, because with all the support and all the buffs that all these characters are getting, like, we're obviously getting a lot of extra attack power. So alright, let's go ahead and get our, as much as I love all of these active skills, let's get the let's get down to business here and do this. Active skill with Gogeta. Active skill with Vegito. And then this is pretty much just going to be GG. If Paikuhan gets a chance to attack, he'll get a bit of a buff, obviously here from the Gogeta active skill, but I mean, Vegito should just absolutely demolish these guys here now. He gets to attack before they super. I mean, it's the active skill turn anyway, so he's got, bear in mind again, right, 55%. He's got 6 million defense on this turn, thanks to all of the support from Glorio and everything. And then we do that, get a little bit more support. Remember, Paikuhan is giving the 10-year fusions 60% attack and defense if you pick up all of his orbs as well. So Vegito already starting out at like 5 million attack stat counters, which, as we know, with the attack stat for counters being like bugged, it's actually like 15 million. Like, we've got characters on the team, I mean, I guess it's mainly our supports, but we've got characters on the team that like don't hit that with their own super attacks, right? And now Vegito's just out here doing that with counters. And of course that's only going to go up exponentially now that we get our super attacks off as well. So I'm pretty sure they don't survive this turn, right? Because what's this one? Yeah, first post super counter is nearly 9 million. I suppose there's not tons of attacks on the turn. Maybe they will just about survive, because obviously every time Vegito gets hit, his attack power goes up, right? So every counter does that little bit more damage. Now we're over 10 mil. And of course Gogeta hasn't even attacked yet, right? So you got an 11 million counter there. Then Gogeta's turn. He's at 45 million. Man, these guys are 55%. The anniversary like headliners are so good. I know we all know that already, but damn, so good. And then remember, he's going to get like 3 of those. So we got another 2 incoming. 42 million. I do love the animation for the Gogeta Final Flash. I reign supreme. 46 million. And then even AGL Paikuhan can get in on the fun with the massively boosted attack stat from Gogeta's active skill if he gets a chance to attack. No, he should. They're only doing 2 attacks here, right? So 11 mil, so it's actually 33 million. And then like 37. And then Paikuhan. Look at Paikuhan, 26.5. Let's go. Sadly only an additional normal. Damn, Paikuhan can like triple super, and you'd have probably got up to almost like 30 million. And then Vegito with 2 more counters, oh, it's not quite going to be enough. Man, Paikuhan getting those additional normals, that's a bit disappointing. Oh no, there is one more. There was 3 attacks in slot 3. Okay, well there you go. 14 million attack stat counter. Goodbye, Zamasu and Rose. So there you go. Physical Paikuhan, another great buff for the Glorio team. This is such a fun team. Keeps getting buffs. I'm just going to keep using it. It's super fun. Let me know what you guys think of this team down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.